I will call our meeting to order at 10 a.m. So let's go right into roll call. I'm Lexi. I'm the zoning administrator.
Tiffany Sebecki, CDA.
Diana Dilge, Plan Commission.
Heather Dalton, CDA.
Lori Giamatti, CDA.
Perfect.
And Bill was excused, so you have that. You knew that one.
Yes, so Bill
And-
Capel is excused, and Attorney Flanagan is excused, and then
Baker should be arriving
yes.
any
He
minute. Yeah.
said, see you tomorrow last night.
he
Yep.
did.
So
So that's a
we're
promise.
holding him to it.
But if he's one of those people, you got to grab him when you can, and if you.
Yeah.
Perfect, son. I'll move right ahead to certifying the posting of the meeting. Hopefully. There it is.
This is yours.
Alright, so I certify that on Monday, December 30th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Plan Commission Rome Town Center Subcommittee meeting for Friday, January 3rd, 2025 was posted at the following locations: Rome Town Hall, 1:59 p.m., Quick Trip LLC, 2:05 p.m., Nakusa Port Edward Safe Bank, 2:10 p.m., posted on the Town of Rome website on 12/30/2024, and emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on 12/30/2024. Tell it's getting colder because my times are getting faster.
Are you running from the car, or you just drive by and throw it at the wall?
Oh, so at the bank, my fingers get too cold. I can't push the pins in.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, maybe he's telling. Is our sound on? Did you push the button by chance over that Jason just called? Maybe our sound isn't on. As we're working, well then I'm not gonna
It
take
says,
that call.
yeah, it says the sound's on. I'm
Okay.
looking at it and our audio's on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jeez, you're dressed like Nanook for heaven's sake.
I don't know what that
He's
means.
got snow on. It's like Nordic in the
Nanook
Arctic.
of the
kind of-
north?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Nanook in the north.
Yeah, it's cold out
Well,
there.
he came all the way from Illinois for this weather.
Yeah. Buffalo, actually.
Well, Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah, kids were out on the lake this morning. It was cold.
Oof.
Were they out already this morning?
Oh, yeah.
Good for them. When
Yeah.
do they go back to school?
One day.
Oh, okay. So you got a weekend. Good.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Sorry I'm late.
No, that's all right.
Perfect.
So we're at number 4, you said?
Approving the agenda. Yep. Can I get a motion?
I'll approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Alright. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Any opposed? The motion will carry. Alright, I did not receive any citizen comments, so I will not read number 5. There's also no members of the public here, so I'm not going to read subpoint A today. So we can chug right along. Let's go right into point number 6. So approving the minutes from the December 13th, 2024 RTC Sub Committee meeting.
I make a
Again,
motion to approve the minutes from December 13, 24.
perfect.
Second it.
Perfect. Any discussion? Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Alright, so then let's go right into 7. So consolidated RTC sub-districts for recommendation to the Plan Commission.
So Nick gave me a quick debrief last night before he had to leave for that exciting delivery. But consolidated RTC sub-districts, he said that we have all of our pieces in place to really unify those districts now, including the 15 launch points from, but we're not gonna do it today. Just let me
Okay,
finish.
I don't
Let
have
me
to
finish.
panic.
No,
Okay,
you
good.
don't. No, I saw the look of panic on your face. Just bring it down a nudge. Nick said you'd go there, so fair warning.
Okay.
All the pieces are there to unify these districts. We have our non-use controls, form-based non-use controls going to Plan Commission for a public hearing. That's coming up. We have the merits of all the unity that we've shown by going over all the different documents and the need to do that, including SAM's launch points. And the use controls for consolidating those districts would be the next step we would give to a master planner So that would run parallel with that. So we're not talking about doing this today, and we're gonna bump number 7 down to next agenda items when we review the RTC use controls. So he just wanted to assure everyone that we've got those pieces moving forward that we need to take that next step of combining those like Sam recommended to us. For one, and we've had previous conversation at this meeting about likely one district, for the RTC. So we'll be ready for that at our next meeting, whatever that might be. But Lexi did copy the newest form of the use control, so just an overview for your homework when you come back next time. We color-coded these, we made a chart. Use controls are basically all of our conditional and permitted uses in the Rome Town Center. And Sam recommended very early on that there's no need for this, to have this many. They're too restrictive, too confining, and we could really bring these down. This tool, like the non-use controls, which really help guide us towards seeing that we can make it very simplified moving forward, is meant to do the same thing. So it's been color coded, and then if you look towards the bottom, these are not recommended. They're just segregated by arts, entertainment, food, by housing, by lodging, by manufacturing, wholesale, warehouse, distribution, production. And then there were a few oddities I called misfits, and retail sales, professional services, and technology. Then you have control, a key down at the bottom showing, the different zoning districts according to code, the use controls, and then the zoning sub-districts. So if you can get really familiarized with this list.
Helpful.
Pardon?
This is helpful to have it broken down like this.
Okay, so if you see anything that wasn't categorized in the ones to kind of bring all of these together, because they were all over the board, and even Lexi could speak to the fact, the larger chart we originally had was like over 365 of them. So this is just for in the Rome Town Center.
This is the pared down version?
No, well, pared down from the big list townwide, yeah.
Yes, the big
So-
list is worse. The big list is
Welcome to
crazier.
Wisconsin zoning. But,
This may
we
seem
are
like a
here.
stupid question, but what are all the letters stand for? C and P?
So-
okay, that's conditional or permitted uses.
Okay.
Yep, so
Got it.
P is like things, if someone came in and they're like, I want to build this, I can approve it. Nothing, they don't need to do anything, they just get a permit with me. C means they need to go to Plan Commission and they need to have like a public hearing for it.
Got it.
Which there's a lot of steps to go through, and as the state has shown us with short-term rentals and other things, they're really trying to get our zoning away from conditional use permits. That's why we want to look
Yes.
at and
Meaning
emphasize.
they want to make it easier.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and they're also, but the other side of that, though, that we realized, and Diana and I, when we review different things, is that they're getting more involved in town and municipal zoning. So it's like finding the balance between what do we really want in our communities and what's the state going to allow us to have. So, but we also, quite frankly, it leads to flexibility.
Yep.
Maybe you can add, if you want to add anything to that, but.
Yeah, a lot more flexibility. It just makes it so it's less complicated in general.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yes, because right now it's just like, it's just kind of over-regulated.
Yes.
Honestly, that's just kind of, it's just because, I don't know how else to word it.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Overregulated. It's to the point that they're kind of helping us along and saying that you can't do this, this, and this if we have laws in the statutes already that say you don't need a conditional use permit, make it easier on the people applying. So,
Yes, because I think the uniqueness about us is that we stepped away from having county zoning, which is why I'm here. And it's just allowing us to have, we're kind of allowing us to have more, I guess, faith in both our elected officials and then in our zoning administrator by having more broad topics versus just having such a restrictive text that tells everyone, like, nitty-gritty details of you can have exactly this or exactly this. That's kind of what we're hoping to do.
I know when we did the conditional use stuff at the last subcommittee meeting, there was a lot of discussion with regard to segregating out certain aspects of business. For instance, and I can't find, a bank and credit union was a conditional.
Number 7.
Number
Yeah,
7.
like,
But we had an issue with regard to these, where you can go and get cash, these loan companies. I can't think of the name right now.
Loan payday type.
Payday kind of places.
Yeah.
Like a Western
And those
Union?
were things.
No, this is
no,
like,
it's
like you give your
like-
car as collateral and then they'll
Oh.
loan you like $5,000 and
Right.
you gotta work your life to
And
pay
those
it
were
off kind of
things
place.
that
Loan sharks.
we didn't
That's
essentially.
Okay,
Those were things that we didn't want, yet they did not statutorily fit under bank and credit union kind of a determination. So, and I can't find it in here because we set out a segregated area.
that might be elsewhere in B1, but these are the ones that all apply for the Rome Towns. So if you go to the back
Well, we
list,
just did Rome Town Center.
you're confusing form-based non-use controls then maybe. If you go to the back here where we have, and we're not gonna get into this too much, it's just really to get familiar with it, but if you go back to, let's see the categories here, let's see if we've got services, look under services. Bank and credit union, number 7. So these came right out of the chart that we had, that was done to put zoning hub together. Everything that was in zoning hub, they put a chart together of permitted and conditional uses town-wide. These are the ones that are strictly in the Rome Town Center sub-districts. So permitted and conditional just for the RTC. So and what we're gonna try and do is pare those down as well, that eventually, like we said last night, it would flow out into the rest of the town. So with that, then we'll be able to get it down to one sub-district. But I'm not answering your question. I'm still not sure why you're puzzled. What are you, is somebody else getting
I'm
it?
trying to put that together too. So basically, because like a payday type business isn't listed in here, it's not permitted.
Well, no,
Right?
we
Is that
did
what that
have it,
is?
we did have it in our
Okay.
conditional uses the last time our committee, the last time this committee went through conditional uses.
Oh, well, you're talking years ago then. I thought you meant this company. I mean, this subcommittee.
When the last subcommittee went through all the conditional
That's on the
uses-
townwide chart. That's on the townwide chart. The biggest chart.
The
This is-
300 something one.
Yes, with 365.
This is pared down.
This is pared down just for the RTC. These are the ones that fit the sub-districts on that master list that we are going to touch on first.
So the conditional use permits that were decided for RTC in 2019, whenever that last meeting.
It's right here.
This is it, this is all
This
of
is
them.
it, right
All
here.
of them that we
All of
did
them.
in 2019 are on
Lexi,
here.
you can verify that for me, correct?
Okay, I don't.
I've
Oh,
got
this
the whole
is
list
all-
right here, and you are more than welcome to go back.
Yeah, I can show you the entire list. The entire list is a kind of,
No, I'm only interested in RTC.
And this is where we
Yeah,
got this
that's
from.
But maybe the one you're thinking of was that just
Okay.
not included in the RTC, they wanted a business like that outside of.
Well,
the
maybe
No,
what
we
you can do
only
is
did
reconcile that
RTC.
as homework then. If
I
you
will.
can find it, here's the master list that we had for zoning hub, which is now running and operational for the town in Lexi's department. These are all
I'll
of
go
them.
through it, Lori.
If you
in
would,
the next-
please, yes,
before
and
the
bring it
next
to our
meeting.
attention. But nothing was left out. I mean,
Let me
we
see.
thought we got everything in here that we need, but bottom line is, this is gonna make our jobs easier to understand. And it's one thing that Sam had pointed us to over and over again. With these 365 and these, how many of them? You don't need all of them. You don't need all of them, you don't need to get that specific.
Yeah,
But-
this breaks it down pretty narrowly.
And he's gonna be with us at our next meeting, so those will be good questions to have for him at our next meeting. And so that's why when we talk about consolidation, the actual use controls, it'll be helpful to have him here as the planner, and he could share. There was just a magazine I'm gonna share with all of you online when I can, later today or this weekend. The League of Wisconsin Municipality magazine that comes out every month, the entire magazine this month is on zoning and planning. And Sam's got articles in there, and how other communities are paring these down and what they did for their comp plans as well. So I
It
think
would
it's
be
good for
interesting to
us
read
to
that.
have
Yeah,
that
that'd be
plan
great.
commission and also CDA, but,
Can you, is there a website or something on that?
no, I'm gonna send it to you, because
Oh.
I've got a link to it,
Okay.
and you gotta send it a certain way, and I don't wanna send it wrong that you can't open it up and I gotta explain it to everybody.
I can confirm though
Tried
that,
that with CDA and that
this-
didn't go well.
yeah, I can confirm though that everything on here is everything from the the massive master list just pared down. Cause I have,
It is?
yeah, cause
Okay.
I have on the Dropbox, if you guys are curious and you do want homework, I have different iterations of the huge master list pared down. Because I have one where it's just the Rome Town Center one. I have one where I have uses I think could be permitted in the Rome Town Center, and I have one that's just everything.
So those are in the Dropbox, all three of them, and this is pared down to make it workable. Maybe we can help you with that before you leave today then.
So if you guys
Or
are
Lexi can,
yeah,
'cause I-
so if you're curious, the one that's just Rome Town Center is RTC Recolored 3. That's what this list is. The one that's ones I think could be uses is RTC 2 or Recolored 2, and then the one that's everything is just like I don't know if it's RTC Recolored 1 or RTC Recolored. But that's the monstrosity.
Yeah, that you don't even want to go to that. Spare yourself the anguish, because we did it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, that moves number 7 down. If you have any questions, direct them to Lexi, ask me, send us email, direct them to Lexi and we'll figure it out, but she just verified for you. But if there's any other questions, but this is the one, if you could just get familiar with it before our next meeting, and that'll help us with those per Nick. And then before we go any further, I just want to take a moment though and say thank you to everyone again publicly for the presentation you did last night, that it got approved to move forward with the master planner.
Yeah, that's
Thank
exciting.
you to Sam Valley for that generous offer. I don't think that people really realize what that amounts to. I mean, putting a dollar value on something like that, and the time and the talents of people that do this for a living are greatly appreciated. And the dollar value for something like that, if we went out, just did an RFP, is like 70,000 plus. So, and especially for the firms we're looking at, it probably goes even higher. And the two that we are looking at were the ones, and I just even got another email this morning, was that Rinka or that Cardo or whatever else Michael and Baker come up. We're gonna allow them to take the lead because they're donating the time, talents, and the money for us to have that. So, thank you again, and I think, I would like to request that we do send a thank you note, similar to what we did at CDA, you know, for that to them, for donating that. Just a simple thank you to Michael Kaiser Jr. and Baker and Sam Valley as a whole. So maybe we'd come up with a thank you note from this group.
Okay, I can have that prepared for
Excellent.
next meeting.
Okay. That sounds great. And thank you again for that.
Yeah.
So I think it went really well. So I appreciate everybody's efforts to date. All right, you want to go to number 8 and then we can.
Yep, so programming list of design and building concepts for master planning and eventually community engagement.
Now, Nick had some briefing on this too because he anticipated being here, but he's got his second nephew on the way, as I shared earlier, so he's out of town. But this actually was listed this way on the agenda because we weren't sure what would have transpired last evening. Had they not approved it, we would have continued with our work. But because we are looking now and have that approved, I'd like to hear from Baker maybe what his thoughts are on the next steps and the master planners, and how then we as a group want to continue with some of those things we've already done. We've done a lot of the preliminary work with the vision board, with the wants and needs list. You guys, some of you need to get out there and still add your thoughts. I added a few fun ones for you just to get you started. Diana already knows. Lexi had to ask me why all those rooftop bars were there with smiley faces and an entrance with bullhorns on it, but we got everybody's thoughts and needs in there. But go ahead.
Well, we were going up to Wausau and there was a billboard, and is there a new restaurant up in Wausau with a rooftop that opened just recently?
I did hear that.
Yeah, I did hear about that too.
Because there's a huge
Yeah.
billboard, and I
Really?
they're
Since-
stealing our idea.
Wausau,
Well,
don't think about
We
it.
need to do homework as in we need to go there and
Yes, we have to go
visit.
Yeah,
try
there you
and
go.
see how that works. Like the ones in Nashville, let's go try the one in Wash.
And then we
Oh,
need
I
to
saw.
talk to this brewery over here and be like, hey, so is there, can we put in?
Can we put a, yeah, no, they,
That was on the,
on the original plan, but
well, no, like phase 2.
2, 9. I'll be dead
I
and
mean,
buried
it's a
by
thought,
then,
it's
Heather.
there.
Snap to it. But anyway, maybe we could start with Baker and just see where
Yeah,
where
no,
you
I
wanna
think
go
now
that we
that we've
our
got
approval.
now that we've got the approval, I think, you know, I'll probably reach out to Michael this week, or not this week, next week. Sorry, this week's over basically, and sort of get an understanding of where, you know, how he wants to get going. So I think that, you know, I've let him know already that we've done a lot of the legwork to try to get, you know, narrow our thoughts down to a point where it's shareable so that the master planner can hit the ground running, and we're not starting from scratch. And then I think it's probably a series of meetings with whoever we hire. So then I think it's, if there's somebody that you want us to consider outside of ones that we've already worked with, then I want to make sure I have that person and whatever company they are. I can share that with Michael if you want us to consider them as well. I think that's fine. But I think we just quickly narrow down to who, and particularly I think, Michael's gonna have some opinions on who he wants to work with. So, I'll get his feedback on that quickly, and then I think, we get an engagement letter, and then we start setting up meetings with this committee. And then I don't know how much we'll share up front, and then Michael will come in. I have to sort of gauge his understanding of what he wants to do, but I think, I think he wants to be involved, but I think he'll be at somewhat of a high level, and then we'll do a lot of the heavy lifting here, is my thought.
And the only one I had was that one from Sam, and he did contact me again after last night's meeting, so I have a feeling they did watch it. I know Sam did. And that's Eric from Rinka, which was one of the first ones we talked about when you mentioned Cardo. And we understand that since you're the one that will be engaging them, that, if anything, we'll get back to him and just let him know that he's under consideration, but the ultimate decision is gonna lie, with the people that are paying for it. And hopefully everybody understands too that with Michael Baker, Sam Valley, and whatever planner they picked being involved, it's not that it's this committee, it's plan commission, and it's what's best for the town overall, and that Rome Town Center. It's been sitting there for too long. We've got enough organic stuff happening there, but now we need professionals to really take off with this. And who else but proven developers in the community, as well as the ones that I have no doubt they'll pick a good one.
Yeah, so I think we narrow it down. I'll get Michael's opinion. I'll share it with the group on who, maybe there's one or two that he would want us to talk to. We'll also add Rinka in, which I think you said Eric. Just
Eric Main, yes, I got
the information. You can pass that information
to me. Yes, I'll send it to you.
And then I think, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we can make a decision. I don't know if we do that. We need a meeting for that here, or do we just?
Yeah, we probably, to follow the process through.
Okay, so I think it's more procedural on I could probably move this pretty quickly at this point, now that we've got the okay from the town board. But I think it'll be understanding between you and Nick, how we do it technically, which will be, the way we would do it is we would either, in certain cases, we either interview if we thought it was a bigger project, a lot of these we've worked with. The only person we maybe don't know is Rinka. And then we'd pretty quickly get an engagement letter from them, and then start setting, in our world, it would be weekly meetings. I don't know if that'll work for this group or not, but we'd start setting a cadence. And then I think it's an initial meeting where maybe we all meet in person with the master planner, and maybe that we use that as a way to sort of download all the work we've done, try to present that, which I think Alexi's done a very nice job of sort of consolidating everything we've got.
Yes.
Share that, and then also have sort of a what we call a charrette, which is kind of what we did.
How do you spell that?
CHARETE.
Is it 2 R's or one? I can't remember. It's 2 R's.
I think it's 1 R but 2 T's.
2 T's.
That's
Okay.
R-E-T-T.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Look at all this.
It's
Teamwork.
it's a
CHARE.
There's usually summer
TTE.
sausage cheese, some olives. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I start
It's
shooting.
It's a French word for collaboration. Basically, it's a meeting of where we've already what we did when we had the big board up and we went through all the Pinterest. That was a version of a charrette where we'd have a sort of an introduction. Everybody gets to know each other, and then we have an overall sharing of ideas, right? And there might be one or two of those, that we do in the beginning, which is basically, so we'll have to see exactly, and some of it may be dictated by the master planner, meaning like, I'd like to come to you guys, I'd like for you guys to present everything to me, or he may say, send me all your stuff, I'm gonna digest it, and then I'll come back to you all with questions, and then we can have it, so it'll be dependent on who we choose and the actual person's cadence that they wanna do. And then it's just, they'll start putting ideas together based on what we want to do, and then it'll just start to flow pretty quickly from there. So.
And then they'll also help us gauge when the appropriate time is. Once we have what we need together, we get public engagement in those outreach sessions with the community, or maybe select people from business, community, development.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
I think you probably want to have an open to the public forum,
Okay.
and then I think you probably
Excellent.
also want to have a business owners forum where they can feel like they're this is just my gut saying
like
that
that.
the business owners would definitely want to have a say because they're already in the town center in some capacity, right? Or they're near the town center. So I think hearing from them directly would be an important step to
Yeah.
make sure there's buy-in there. And then I also think the entire town, if interested, there's probably a forum there, and maybe that's a little bit broader where we just, take some feedback. And I don't know if we have to decide as a group if we have something to share at that point, or we just take in, it's usually better if you try to narrow those conversations down as much as you possibly can so we might want to have something preliminarily to share and then get feedback on so that
Yes.
it's not just things coming off the walls and, people just spitballing ideas that they have about putting a water park in the middle of the town or, 3 car washes right next to each other, stuff like that, So the more you can narrow the focus, the more you can get out of it. So, it may be that business owners come first because they're real stakeholders. They've got money
Yes.
invested in the town. We get to a point where we feel good about a larger plan. Maybe we've got some renderings that we want to share. Again, I'm sort of making this up a little bit, and then we go to a larger, town forum so that everybody. Because the key to this is going to be that we want feedback from everybody so that there's buy-in.
Right.
And there's going to be people that have negative things to say, of course. It's like anything you do.
They live
you
on it.
gotta be prepared for that. But I think getting the town excited about where we're headed and putting the plan together, and then I think Jackie's points last night were valid about there are people waiting, so we don't the more we can get ourselves together
Yes.
who are interested in the town to start this plan, who want to take this on, I think the better, right? So anyway, that's high level what I think, but we'll have to. Next step clearly to me is Michael and picking the master planner, and I think that can happen in the next week or two.
I'll get you Eric's information
Okay.
later today.
Great.
Do you think it would be, and I'm gonna use charrette because it's a new word and I
Mm-hmm.
really like it. Do you think it would be advantageous in one of the initial charrettes to invite the business owners, not to participate, but more so to inform? This is where the master planner and this committee is together, and this is what we're going to be doing from this point, to give them like to give them some kind of a introduction or a heads up into what we are doing, and at some point we're going to be incorporating what you are, but this is where we are,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what you as a business owner should be thinking about to come in, to give us your feedback, and maybe while we're all getting together on our first collaborative effort, have them just sit and observe what is going on, or no.
I like
I
the
know.
thought of that just because it gives them that something to chew on before coming to the forum. Something to, all right, this is where the direction, so that it's clear of what they need to come prepared with to the forum. But then it's
The chewing on part is what concerns me, and I'll be quite honest about it. I mean, it's just too much information out there, and people start checking in, checking out before we even have a chance to move forward. And I think with what we've been talking about at CDA, like yesterday, having some business owners roundtables in Q1 of 25, perhaps that's where we do that. Those roundtables that get us ready,
Okay.
could
Yep.
be what feeds into this. But to bring them in at that step, I think it would be quite frankly, a hindrance. That's just my opinion. And we've seen this happen before with items, and sometimes when we do those things, and I see the point and the validity of what you're saying, Diana, but I think there's a right place for it and a right time. I don't know that it is at the point that Baker's talking about, but perhaps that's what CDA could vet through and get them prepared and say, here's a report, we're reporting back to you. Lexi does those reports to CDA and Plan Commission. We're reporting back to you, this is where we're at, this is what we're thinking about, and we wanted to bring you up to date as business owners. Because we did talk about a roundtable at our last CDA meeting and the one yesterday again. And we're gonna actually have Aaron from WEDC maybe weigh in on that. So maybe this is one of those first steps we could take that then would build into that next forum we would have as a CDA. But I personally think it would be premature for this, and it might spiral out of control.
I also don't really know how we'd get it to business owners. I guess that's kind of maybe me being a little selfish as a staff member, because that'd fall on me, and would I just be like sending them an agenda or a letter, or how do we go about that? Would we be asking our master planner to be engaging them, or?
And is that how we really want the master planner to be spending their time?
That would just be
either?
I would just be kind of, I just don't know how we would get the business owners to come here for a meeting. 'Cause I mean, business owners could be sitting here right now if they want to. I mean, these are public meetings, and I'm just,
Well,
And they know what we're working on, and back to what Baker said about all those documents we have to build up to this, that would certainly be the groundwork of what we need to have our first roundtable with business owners and say, this is what the subcommittee's been doing. You know,
okay, well then let CDA just take care of it then.
I
and make the
think so.
decision.
yeah.
Well, there's no decision to be made, it's just getting input at a different place, not a decision.
No, the decision, at what point do we bring in the business owners to give them the information?
When we get a master planner that helps us get this underway.
Yeah, like I'm not opposed to getting them in. I just quite literally don't really know how.
I think too, you want to try to limit the feedback loops, because the more feedback loops you get, the harder it is to manage, right? So, I mean, I think we want their input. I think the timing of it. I think the person to ask is probably the master planner who's done done this. Because like for us, it's. I mean, I've never done it in this public forum. Like for us, it's we're all sitting in a room. We're all trying to pull on the same side of the rope, right? So. You don't have a lot of. You may have a lot of people giving different inputs and feedbacks, but you don't have people who are clearly opposing you in the meetings that I'm in, right? So like mostly it's like, okay, this is an idea, throw it out there. Oh, bad idea, throw it out. Good idea, let's keep working on it. Whereas like you open it up to anybody, you may have people who are trying to purposely negatively impact it, for whatever reason they have, right? So I think we definitely want feedback from the business owners because you need buy-in. I think deciding when we do that is probably best decided by
We
the
want
master
more of a
planner.
focus.
Yeah, because then I think you sort of
Focal
put the
point
bumpers
and then-
on and say, okay, now we're within this, pathway, and they can kind of zigzag in there, but it doesn't allow them to go outside of that and come up with all kinds of different ideas. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
I think it's also probably helpful for there to be one point of contact for the businesses. Like if the master planner is the person to engage businesses, keeping it with the master planner to engage businesses, not like sometimes it's the zoning administrator engaging for the subcommittee, sometimes it's the master planner, sometimes it's so and so. I think that's just
Or
going
it
to
might
get too
just be this
confusing.
committee,
Yeah,
have
or
them-
as a committee as a whole. I think it's just. I think it's maybe we should decide that first. But I don't think it's a bad idea to get them here. But I mean, I think I would first like to see them come here on their own before we reach out to get them here. Because I just don't think we're ready to have them just sit here for our meetings if they're not ready to be here on their own.
I think you stated it well. You have too many feedback loops, and what did you say? You get you
Well,
don't get
just-
the right feedback.
It just slows you down, you're right? I mean, in terms of like, you want to limit the feedback loops, I think, because then you're not focused, you don't spend most of your time focusing on something that isn't helping move it forward.
So then, you said in another couple of weeks, we should have this pretty much.
Yeah, I think let's,
Yeah.
I'll find out pretty quickly, like this week, starting next week, where we are with the master planner, and then I think we'll either receive in some proposals, so we'll have like we can either have an interview process, or we can just ask, for some proposals, and then we'll, engage with one, hopefully quickly. That's my plan. I mean, it wouldn't, the part I don't know is like, technically, how does the town, what do we need to do in terms of like, do we need another meeting of this committee to then approve it, or could we just hire somebody now?
No, you're good. You have your approval.
Okay.
You have your approval.
So,
Mhm.
I think we quickly move towards figuring out who we think will work with the best, and some of that we'll lean on Michael for, and then get a letter of engagement and start going, and then start setting up meetings, with this group and the master planner, and then, invite Michael to come in. He'll figure out where he fits in the best. It may be, he's probably very helpful in the early stages, because he's sort of a big thinker, and then he'll understand the technical side of it too, so.
Do you think, what documents do we have already that would be, like our Pinterest boards, our needs and wants lists?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got those pretty well. I mean, if there's anything else anybody wants to put out there, but building those into, I mean, just using the exact documents we have, you don't need another one, do you, or?
Would you
No.
want another
Summary?
one? Would you want another one? Do you think that would be useful?
I mean, I think what we've done is
Okay.
pretty good up to
Pretty
this
helpful
point.
to
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, they may want to take and put it in their own form, and they may say, "Here's the things that I think they're really." I mean, so I think it'll.
And they might ask us for stuff too,
Yeah.
then, right, that we don't even have or considered yet either. That would be helpful to them.
100%. There's going to be some curves along the way, curveballs along the way, probably. oh, did you think about this? Did you think about stuff that we didn't think about? So I think we'll focus on this coming week of figuring out who the master planner will be. Hopefully spend a week or so locking that in, and then quickly get an engagement going, and then start the process of getting those meetings in place.
And with regard to, like you said, meeting weekly or a lot, I'm open to get
Yeah.
this done as
I
quickly
am
as
too.
possible. Especially like what you had mentioned with Jackie and.
Well,
you know,
we brought
do
it up
know
at
that there
CDA too, that there's people, sorry, not to interrupt, but there's people interested in
Yeah.
land, but then again too, we're kind of vetting, what are you really interested for? And this isn't for like investing and sitting on it, hoping that you could do what you want with it eventually, because we're not through all the processes yet to say what we want. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take away your, but.
Well, and that's, I would like to get this behind us, as fast as we can, but still do a really good job.
He freaked me out a little bit last night when he said 6 months. I was hoping more for 4, but I understand
I
they've
was
got other
hoping by
work
the
to
end
do
of
too, and I know
February.
they got a golf course to open up again in the spring.
No, I just think
I'm
it's
praying
as
for
fast
warm
as we
weather
can work. I
sooner.
was trying to give us I usually try to give us an outside date so that we can beat it.
I know,
You
I
don't
know.
want to say
Yeah,
3
that's
months
right.
and then
See how
everybody,
good we are?
yeah.
That's smart. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. That's right. 6
But-
months and we come in with 4. Well, look at how many meetings we've met already and what we've accomplished so far. So, I mean, if we keep booking at this, but you're right, set it for 6 months and we'll be
Yep,
done at 4.
especially after the holidays. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments or questions? So is there anything anybody wants to add to that wants or needs list or to the Pinterest boards? They're divided like in different categories, we kind of sorted them, and we can make it cleaner if anybody has any opinions on how they should look, that those are very useful to them, because that's, again, I go back to the PUD they used over at Sand Valley and how they were doing sedge, and they got these different ideas of how houses look, how green space looks, where the roads, that sort of thing. So if anybody has any ideas, let's set a time limit that if you want to add anything to the needs or want list in the Dropbox, and we'll help you later, or the
Yes.
vision boards, maybe say by the middle of next week.
yeah, because I might
got a
plug
weekend.
through the Pinterest and I might just add back to that Google Slides, and then I might just pull things from there, common themes I'm seeing, and just like add to that slideshow so we have some sort of deliverable to give.
Yeah, that's great.
So say next week, Wednesday, say, could you guys have because you got the weekend, and that'd be awesome. Okay, so Wednesday because after that, then we won't take any more. Awesome. Alrighty, so next steps, following the 15 implementation recommendations and launch points, including use of the fiscal analysis worksheet for RTC land development. This kind of goes back to what Diana just brought up. When we originally started working with Sam, he also gave us a fiscal analysis worksheet, and I guess not everyone had it. We thought we had given it to everybody when he did his presentation. But the fiscal analysis worksheet that we have, do you have a spare copy by chance I could share it?
It's in the,
Oh, yeah, it's right here. Sorry. That's not the whole thing, though.
the
There's
whole
other-
thing, well, part of it's all online in a spreadsheet, so I couldn't really share it as well as I wanted to.
I know, and it's very,
This is
very
it, right?
small. There's 2 pages. Well, this is the first part of it. But bottom line is what it is, the fiscal analysis spreadsheet. It's evaluation of development's contribution to and demands from the town. And what that simply means is basically the town made an investment when they put that park there. They put in the roads, the electricity, the water, everything that's there. Fire hydrants, that's all at the expense of the town. We've talked on many and numerous occasions about how moving forward, if we do look at a certain type of housing development here, retail space here, that those developers perhaps help us pick up some of those costs. Because there's also ongoing maintenance. We pay the electric bill. We pay, for water main replacement. We pay for everything. So if you're going to put in roads in that you want the town to maintain and not be private roads in your home development, well, there's costs incurred. So he gave us a worksheet. I thought there were more pages here, but this is 1 page of it, and we had handed them out. I guess we didn't have enough at that one meeting where we had everybody here, the town board, CDA, and Plan Commission. But this is a tool basically that we've taken the costs of what it did to put those things in there and what it currently costs us to maintain those, plowing, paving, resurfacing the roads, the water, everything. Sam built that into a chart. So bottom line is, we really should start using that once we start selling land again. And that's why it's hard to come up, people have talked about a fixed price. There's no fixed price. You wanna go.
These things, we need to incorporate that in there.
Exactly. So if you're gonna be on a prime corner where we're putting in a brand new road, and we've got water mains going through there now, and there's a fire hydrant, but that cost might be different if you want 3 acres versus 3 acres back on 16th Avenue. That's why it's hard to price, or do you want 7 acres? You know, so we have to be more thoughtful and put more consideration into how we're gonna sell this land and how we're gonna price it when we sell it. And then does your project fit? And that's why the master planner is important, and that's why we gotta get the code, you know, thought about use controls and the zoning district. So those things all kind of go, blend themselves together, and that's what I'm hoping a master planner can put the, I knew somebody at the Visitors Bureau up in Rapids a number of years, digressing a little, but she say, put a tent on the circus. And it's not that we have a circus that we can't manage, but we have all these pieces to this puzzle, and the master planner's gonna help us. So that's why when people ask, well, what are the prices for the land? What can I buy? How many? We don't know yet. We don't know what we want to sell you because we haven't decided what we want there yet. So, and we need all those voices, all those stakeholders, the business owners, the community, what do they want to see? So that's where we talk, and I'm sorry you don't have all of the pages. We'll get it to you in a bigger, but it's something that we need to adopt and move forward. And I think this is something that we can use then as a CDA when we're selling land. So that was one piece of Sam's launch points that he had presented in that original presentation. We'll get everybody all the pages. But did you want to add anything, Lexi? Maybe, are you gonna?
I'm hopefully gonna pull it up if it doesn't.
And then you have his 15 launch points in a handout that we've given you before. That if you have your Rome Town Center booklet, it shows you right in there. Maybe you could take a look at that, and you could see that actually we've ticked off a number of these already. They were a summary of the recommendations in this document, and then we had prioritized them in another document. So, I mean, we've easily gotten ahead of some of these already. Oh, Nick's nephew arrived.
Oh, right.
Noah Flanagan.
Noah.
Very nice.
He's got the same initials, so I'll inherit everything of Nick's with NF on it. Here we go.
Is this something that our master planner will get? This
Yes,
15 launch point thing?
I believe it,
I
yes.
think it would be, because we do have what the master planner and ongoing, we've got it.
Absolutely. That's what
Okay.
we were talking about, the different materials they would need from us, and then if there's anything we haven't thought of. So some of those initial documents that we have, I see that as being a packet we prepare and give to them.
Okay.
Once they decide what to start doing. And Baker has all of those too. See, if you look, Lexi, go back to the first one, huh?
The very first
If you
one.
could, please. So the one that you have, you can't read unless you have a magnifying glass. I gotta ask Sam for a better file of this so that we can print it bigger for those of us over age 40. Contributions to town services, you see right there, the land value, projected value of the new development, all of these things, this is what they use in Mount Pleasant when they're developing. So this was a tool he gave us. Cost to the town for the services we provide. Local road, the footage, the collector road, arterials, alleys, service costs. What are those new single-family units, you know, number of units you're gonna have? But then the next one that he had, the tax, infrastructure, and service costs. So this is basically what I think they would be providing. And we'll have Sam go into greater detail if we need him to do that. But this is just an overview of this document, the cost and the benefit. Then the second one shows period 1, period 2, as far as the property tax, the infrastructure cost, and the service costs. So these are all numbers that we would, you know, well, actually not we, but I mean, eventually we would get to, and the town would figure out, what do we really need to price that land at? What are we gonna sell it for? And what is your business or development gonna bring to us as far as value goes? And then the last one is the budget actuals, where he took numbers that we currently had. Brad had given these to him last year already, when we started working with him, and he put this out to this form to show us how to actually figure that all out. And we can maybe have, did I hear it? Yes, Lord?
A mile of roadway, what?
Pardon?
That's-
For a road?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, we'll never be able to recover what it spent us to start that.
Yeah.
And that's why it was an albatross for so long, and that's why since we have this opportunity, we're gonna move at breakneck speed. But we have the tools that we need to do that. So he broke some of this down with realistic numbers already that we have. So once we get this in a form that we can, a size that we can all read, we'll get it out to you again. But this shows you, so we can use all of these again to just set those prices when we're selling that land. Who we're selling it to, what we're selling it for, and where it's located in the park. So.
It's a
And the
good tool.
viability of the purchaser.
Hmm?
And the viability of the purchaser.
Thank you, the viability. And not that anybody isn't, but, you know, you're gonna have to substantiate why you wanna be there, what you're bringing to this, and does it fit with the plan?
Right.
All right. Does anybody have any questions on this or comments?
It looks like a lot of work to me, a lot of work,
It is.
as far as getting all those numbers put together and.
And he
It's-
did some
it's
of
like
it for us
hypothetical.
already. No,
It
not.
seems like it's a hypothetical in
No.
some cases, no.
Why would it be a hypothetical, though, if we have actual numbers that these are our numbers.
Right.
These are town numbers.
My guess is that Sam probably has something like this built out, and then it's just, he's gotta go through and put the inputs in based on the actuals from the town.
And Sam is still, you know, is tapped to work with us. He's our planner. So, you know, he is contracted with the town, and he will
Okay.
continue to work with us on Lexi to get this to where we need it to be to use that tool. You know?
No, he's a huge part of it, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna continue to definitely use him. So, if you go back to the first one, the checklist, if you could, please, thank you. So those numbers, I asked him about that too. He said those are numbers we put in, but these are things we're gonna have to think about, you know, not necessarily this body here, but the town needs to think about when they set those purchase prices.
Mhm.
And then that would come to CDA when we wanna sell a land to a viable developer. I like that term, viable developer. So,
I already forgot my new word.
Charette.
Charette.
when I hear that one, I think of charcuterie.
And then I
You
forgot-
collaborate, you
I
put
know.
things together on a board.
Probably comes from a similar root,
Yeah,
to be honest with
Maybe we
you.
need to have a
everything
charcuterie
comes
board
from a
at the
Greek
charrette.
word, or a Latin word. What'd you say, Tim?
So maybe we need to have a charcuterie at the charrette.
There we go, I like that. That's, you get on that, you got assignments already.
Confused at all.
All right, so we're good on that. Do we want to talk about any of the other documents? We know that we want to give those to him. Do you have any other comments for the master planner? So we know what our next steps are really, is that Baker's going to talk to Michael.
Yep.
He's going to figure out the legwork and review the work to date. You're going to get in touch with some of the master planners you think, including the one that was suggested by Sam, and go through a process of elimination, narrow it down, and see what best fits.
Perfect.
All right.
One thing I wanted to touch on, we touched on it before, we touched on it with CDA, Business Alliance, and I had brought that up before. I have been in Business Alliance and have attended that. You know, we've touched on it as in, like, if we do the round table, and then, you know, making Business Alliance again kind of a more structured element and really getting a buy-in from businesses. I would love to see that grow more. And then it's a really good tool for sharing our information. You know, hey, by the way, at the Business Alliance meeting, you know, we're sharing, you know, hey, I'm Tiffany and I'm here from, you know, real estate. I'm not there for JWS anymore. You know, and I'm also here from CDA and RTC. Here's our update. And that's another great place to share that information with Rome area businesses. But I'd love to see that alliance growing and to see, I have on my notes here working with Lexi to get that business contact list and sending out a contact to them. And I want to work with Mike Irwin on that. because he's kind of the leader of the alliance. And, you know, hey, let's make it a little bit more structured. Let's get an invite list out to the businesses. Like when we, you know, maybe there's kind of a shared work along with alliance of when a new business is licensed, then Business Alliance is sent their contact information. We sent them an email. Hey, here's what this is all about. We'd love for you to come in. We share updates from the town and what's happening there too, just a quick little blurb. And I think it kind of all feeds back around into CDA as well. So it's this really nice little circle of, hey, here's some little updates, and we're here, and the town values you, and then that's, you know, the businesses have their own little thing too.
When is the next Rome Business Alliance meeting? Because maybe what we could do is start providing them. We talked at a meeting too, you know, our CDA one a month ago, you know, that they need a more organic type structure, and it can't be just, you know, getting together and bashing what the town's not doing. But
Yeah.
how do we know what we're not doing if you aren't an organized group of businesses
Yeah.
representing the business? And I think that's where Jackie was going at CDA yesterday too, and I think Aaron will eventually help us with that, like at a round table. But maybe what we could do in February's meeting, which is our next meeting for the RBA,
Yep.
isn't it? We could maybe.
Yeah, and
may-
it's on the 3rd.
On the 3rd? Okay,
Yeah.
February
At the
3rd.
Visit Rome office.
Maybe what we could do is take them an update and say, these are our expectations from you. This is what we're currently doing in the for the RTC. We
Yeah.
want you to be part of that, but we want to see some more organic growth as far as you as an organized unit
Yeah.
of an organized unit of the town. If you're gonna represent businesses, then start representing all, and do what you need to do to get them attracted to come and hear from you.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it at a number of meetings as too, that's why people were dropping off and
Yeah.
not coming anymore.
Yep, and that
So
was, and
if-
I shared that before, that was the same as me. I started going and I was like, this is just kind of a bash session, and left and didn't do Business Alliance for a long time. That has changed now.
And that's
But
good,
it's
and that's what
lost-
we,
Yeah,
yes.
it's kind of lost its structure, I feel. So I'd like to see that structure come back of we have an agenda, we're going around and, you know, introducing ourselves, who we are as a business. That's how I got to know them, starting out with, was at an
It
alliance
wasn't the beer?
meeting.
It wasn't the beer.
Well, the beer helped.
But you're right, and
yeah.
the fact that you're saying that if it comes from the businesses themselves, because it's not a town structure.
Yeah.
It's not a town ordained body, not that we don't want, but it's not, it's gotta be,
Right.
it's not really a chamber,
Yeah.
but there are chambers if you need help with that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But this is more of like, what did Jackie call it yesterday, more of a networking group,
Yes.
you know, so, I
Yeah.
mean.
And I would love to
build
see that
up.
name change too. Jackie was on with that of we really should think
Well, I
about
don't know
kind of
that Alliance-
realigning it to I don't know, I feel like Alliance is like a raw.
Well, that's
you
true,
know?
that's true, it gives
I
a
would love it
negative
changed more to, like,
connotation. That,
networking group.
yeah, that
Yeah.
gives a negative, I see, so say Rome Business Networking
Yeah.
Group or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a great idea, and if you can help that, and
Yeah.
Heather as a business owner, and I can as a representative of the town, Jackie can.
Yeah.
Lisa from Visit Rome has been going more often, we're trying to bring that, a different tone to that, I think that'll be great.
Yeah.
And then that might be one of the first roundtables we do at CDA,
Mm-hmm.
prior to getting into the one that the master planner wants to do with the businesses.
Yeah.
So that would kind of gives us all our homework and
Yeah.
to feed it through this funnel that eventually we're gonna get to a public engagement. Business has their say, community has their say.
Yeah.
Master planner has this great idea,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So
All right.
I do, and I have that on my list too, to talk to Mike.
Should we
about
prepare
that
like a
and-
presentation from from this subcommittee? Bring some of the factual information in where we're moving with the master planner and just let them know what that update is.
Yeah, I think it would be for like the February meeting, just coming up with, you know, a kind of a quick little snippet of like, hey, here's an update of what we have going on, what we're doing, and
Well, and to both Lexi and Diana's point, it lends to the people that go to those meetings are the ones that care, so we're going to them instead of asking them to come to us, it might be,
And we gotta get more of them to care.
yeah.
yeah,
So we've
True.
gotta make it enticing for them to come to
Yeah.
those meetings
A
again.
charcuterie board. No, I'm just kidding.
With a charrette.
yeah. And I think that's where you start that positive buy-in. you know, is
Yeah.
if we're sharing some updates and getting that out there with our businesses who are showing up and caring, and then maybe that starts, you know, passing along, we get more businesses in and,
You reaching out to them over them reaching out to you is always more powerful.
yes,
Because then you know, one, you control the narrative
Yeah.
to start. Two, they don't feel like, you know, they don't feel like they're chasing you to figure out what's going on. You're sharing more information. So I think that's great.
yeah. And I like, you know, I kind of like that, almost being in that position of like, I've held both places where I'm involved with the town, but I'm also a homeowner and a business owner here too, you know, and so I came in first as a business owner, and so I kind of like feel like it gives me a little bit of a level playing field where I'm like, hey guys, I get it too, so, you know,
Exactly,
yeah.
that's the point, and I'm glad that you said that, because that's why I always, when we look at appointing people to these committees too, business owners, homeowners that are vested in this community,
Yeah.
and see it from different perspectives, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, that's why if you're on CDA and you're on Plan Commission, or CDA and this committee, what have you,
Yeah.
Plan Commission and a board at one time, Bill was, there's that connectivity between these groups, and this is something we said to Jason as one of our goals for next year, is that you don't have to go to every meeting, but the connectivity and keeping those groups connected, and I think we're really starting to do a good job of that just with the Plan Commission, CDA,
Yeah.
and this group, and getting that reported back to town board through Lexi.
Yeah.
And I think we've worked really hard, we've done a good job so far. I think we should be pleased with that, because you have to continue that. And you need younger people involved too.
What are you
You
saying?
know? That because we could drop off tomorrow and we need someone to carry on our legacies.
That goes for all of us.
You never know when the Lord's gonna, you know, he's,
You know, and I really want to get our business owners involved. They were the risk takers.
Yes.
And
yeah.
they
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Great point.
I don't want them to feel that we are leaving them out of what's going on.
And I don't think that we
Yeah.
are in any way, shape, or form doing that. If they have to just be patient and wait, like buyers of the land, we're just getting our ducks in a row. Let us get our ducks in a row, and we'll fly off as a happy little flock.
But I mean, even these little breadcrumbs, like we're talking about with what Timmy was saying with the alliance, you know, that to me is that you are letting them know that this is what we're up to. Like by February 2nd, we'll have a master planner. You can tell them we've hired a master planner, and I mean, I think letting them know what's going on, you know, without having to share the entire picture and saying, give us your feedback, is I think important.
Yeah.
Because then you can lead them to buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we want to do this all in a dark room and then say, surprise, you know,
Yeah.
here you go, like, here, look at this great
That's
town,
never-
we're gonna build a 50-foot tower in the middle, you know.
That's never been our intention.
I know, I'm
that-
just saying,
I know
but I'm
you
just
are.
articulating that I
I
think
thi-
everything, all the thoughts here, you know, are good, and
Yeah.
in terms of sharing information, I think you want to control the message, but you also want to share the message. So having that as part of the process, you know, I think is good. I think everybody's heart and mind is in the right place in terms of making sure, because your point is well taken, that the risk takers are the business owners that are already here, right? And they have the most invested in the town already. So making sure that there's buy-in there, and that they have a proper feedback loop, that they can feel like that will be included in the future plans of the town, is important, because that's how you're gonna get everything we wanna get done.
And I like that idea of because I think with the proper feedback loops, as you refer to them often, you get respectful dialogue and you get better outcomes. If you put too much out there right away, it gets slammed before you even get off the ground. You know, so we're not leaving, I don't think, by having them wait a little bit longer. It's not about roof pitches and colors. It's about all these other things that make that a place people are going to go as a destination. Be it a resident in the town, be it somebody that's coming here to visit, or being a business owner and drawing those people in. Because it's just going to add to the life value we have here.
Yeah.
Because we're vested in this community. We're going to die. I'm going to be buried here. You know, so I mean, be real, people. Just wait. Your time will come. We're not.
Well, I do want to reiterate, when this committee was formed, I believe 4 months was thrown out there as far as getting to a point where we could move forward on things.
And we did it.
Okay, and I think the 4-month thing might be misconstrued, where.
By
that-
whom? By whom?
Just people that are wondering what's going on, and you know, the 4-month thing, and, you know, I don't know, they don't watch any of our things. So I do tell them, go on the website or the YouTube channel or something like that, or there's information from Lexi that they can give. But I don't know how to convey to at least the business owners in the park that this is where we are right now.
Who is it that you're most concerned about?
I'm most concerned about our risk takers, the ones that are in the park
And
already.
I think we've answered all of those questions though, Diana, and I don't know, we've committed our time and energies to this. We've got a master planner, donated services, we have 4 months. That person got the permit they wanted and circumvented whatever they needed to get it, and we're moving forward. So give us the time and the space to do that.
Well, and I agree.
And we've got 4 months,
There was a 4-month.
We did it. We gave a preliminary report at the board last night. It was delayed from December. We started in August, September, October, November, December report. We were delayed by weather. Our preliminary report and the offer of a master planner's there. So I don't know, it's hard for me because I don't know if they're not engaged in listening, we can't keep spoon feeding it to them, you know, quite honestly. So, and if there's something else they're looking for that, we're not to roof pitches and colors yet. I don't know how else to, quite frankly, put it up and be blunt. So, I mean, if there's that 1 or 2 people, I mean,
Well, hopefully they come to this meeting of the Business Alliance and they
yeah,
can
that
learn
would
more
be
there.
great. And invite them. They've been to one.
Yeah.
They've been to one, and I was at the one they were at.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I went, because like I didn't know about the Business Alliance meeting when I formed my business. And it, you know, my neighbors asked me about it. Well, are you going to go? I'm like, what the hell was that? You know, so that's why I would love to get like a business contact list and make it more of a formal, hey, we've got a new business here. And even if it's a work from home business, you are a business. And, you know, here's the invite. And, you know,
I shared that with
yeah.
Mike months and months and months ago already when he said, how are we going to build this up? And I said, you just got to have more outreach and figure out
Yeah.
why people are dropping off and figure out a way. And I think there's a plan to put that in place. And
Yeah.
you're willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you're willing to do that. I mean, you have community right at your business. But
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in this room or on this town board or anybody else that's working at the level we are to get these things done, including our advisors we're paying good money for, because we don't have staff to do it that has that knowledge, has lost sight of the fact that these business owners have made an investment in this community.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We have never lost sight of that. I know I haven't, and I know the CDA showed up at 2:00 in the afternoon to tour these businesses, welcome them to the community. It was almost like a little welcome wagon, you know. There was time we didn't even have enough members to go, and they've had treats for us available, or they've had a full-on buffet available, and nobody shows up. So, I mean, we've put the energy and the opportunities out there, and we have talked at CDA about how to celebrate those businesses when the spring picks up again. And I think we have the working wheel is turning, and we will get there. We are there, and we'll continue this process. And there's also an effort that needs to be made on the part of those business owners. Get involved and listen. Listen. You know,
You
hear.
don't get to bitch if you're not gonna participate. Period.
And this wasn't about
Well, knock it off.
but I'm just being very matter of fact, because I don't think anybody's lost sight of what those investments are in those communities. And I've visited every one of those businesses, including the real estate office, the finance office, because I've done business there. I do business with local owners, you know, so support them.
Yeah.
Go to their businesses.
Yeah.
You know, play mini golf. Go buy something at Market on Main. You know, I mean, we've gone to the businesses. We've even gone to the church. I missed that one. I was sick, but gone to the church. So anyway, enough about not appreciating our business stakeholders. But I understand where you're coming from. But we're getting our ducks in a row. We got the 4 months. Here we are. We made a
Yeah,
presentation
and
to the board.
if there are people, I would say urge them to come to these meetings, not to these, you know, if they want to come here, of course, but, you know, if there's open forums where they can voice their opinion, and I've never been to an Alliance meeting, but I assume that's a place where they're welcome, one, and two, that's where their voices can be heard. And then, if the message from this committee to them at that meeting, if it's in February, is, we are, have you in mind, and there is going to be an opportunity for you to give us your feedback. We're just not there yet. I think hopefully that will resonate with them, right? I mean, that's all you can ask for.
That's a good resonate with them. And I think between Lexi and myself, with her reports, a number of the notes and the documents we have, if we have a package we want to take along and share with them, whatever we need to do to boost that attendance in February, and if we don't succeed in February, we take it back in March and we pound it home that this is the work that people are doing. And some of us are actually volunteering our time.
Yeah.
We don't do it we do it because we care about this community, and we're invested in it too as homeowners, public servants, developers, the #1 developer in the community. I mean, they wouldn't have $950,000 at Visit Rome to spend on tourism if it wasn't for most of the short-term rentals at Sand Valley. My home value went up because of Sedge. I wouldn't have gone from $89,000 to $197,000 in less than a year if it wasn't for Sedge just across the road. So we benefit from all of those businesses, and we are thankful that they're here. So let's support them, and we'll do it. And I think we've got some good groundwork laid to how we can contact them, and I will help you in that. I'm devoted to this is my hobby. This is my commitment. My husband plays pickleball and golf. I don't have a life. This is my life.
Play more golf.
Now that I have a dog, though,
We got a dog?
she's demanding. Yeah, we
Oh,
got a
that's
German
awesome.
Shepherd. Yep, she's one. Anyway, so Baker's. I know people have other things they got to do today. We've got to help you with, and I wanted to chat with you briefly
Sure.
before you leave.
Yeah, I've got an 11:30, so I'm gonna
Oh,
have to
then we
run.
better. All right, I'll just take 5 minutes of your time. But so if we want to.
Next meeting.
Yeah, the next meeting dates, now I've got Nick's on here, Uncle Nick. And then I gotta get with Sam, because he will be joining us for that, because he will be the strongest voice in helping us understand use controls, limiting those, and getting down to one district. Let's see, we have the 15th, 16th, and 17th.
I
And
am
the-
open except for Wednesday, early Wednesday.
Oh, I don't have the days of the week, I'm sorry, hon, so. it's
Wednesday's the
15th.
15th.
Yep.
All right, that's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so anytime on Wednesday, Nick's available. Thursday is AM, or Friday, anytime.
Yep.
And then any
I'm
day
out
the.
all that week, I was gonna let you know, because I'll be in Bahamas, but
Nice.
I thought you were, how can you be in the Bahamas if you're going on a cruise?
that's where the cruises do.
Oh,
Bahamas.
gotcha.
Through Bahamas.
Alrighty then.
Yes.
I'm in Chicago, but I could join any of those dates via computer, if that's okay.
Virtual, any of those days? And then,
Yeah, 16, I've got very little on my calendar, but 15 I
what-
could do as well.
Wednesday the 15th, when is Nick available?
he's available Wednesday, the 15th, anytime, Thursday, the 16th, AM, or Friday, the 17th, anytime.
Okay, I do have an appointment Wednesday at 11:30. I would have to leave here by 11.
So
If
maybe
we're gonna
we,
do it in the morning.
yeah, and I can't do anything until probably noon
I can do
Wednesday.
anything.
Why
But
don't we
no,
do
Baker
16 then?
said,
Why don't we do
let's
16?
do the
16
Yeah, that's
seems
what I'm
open.
thinking,
16 AM, that's a
Are
Thursday.
you good 16 a.m.?
I am.
Yeah.
Are you, Heather?
Heather's
16
Bahamas.
She's in the Bahamas.
Oh, that's right, you just said
You
that.
can come in
That's not
virtually.
fair.
No. Don't
It's
come in
really
virtually.
not fair.
Don't come in virtually.
Come to Nick's
My
on the
private
16th?
cabana and private
Oh,
butler and stuff, so.
Private
The more
butler?
hating you,
Ooh,
the
that's
more you say,
TMI
the
right
more
there.
we're hating you.
That's too much
Do
TMI.
not call us.
I don't call
We'll
us.
be jealous.
So the 16th?
Yeah,
Video, right?
in the AM.
What time
Should
did
we
Nick
say-
say he was available on the 16th? Because he said he had some time.
In the AM.
Okay.
So, like 9 AM or 10 AM, folks? 9 AM?
Either one works for
10
me.
is better.
What time?
What
10,
did you,
10 is better.
for you?
We'll still
Okay.
have time to make sure everything's ready and get
Okay.
everything printed and stuff.
All right, and if you're doing virtually, that gives us a chance to set it up and make sure we're gonna get you
Perfect.
virtually.
Perfect.
Otherwise, you're gonna have to fly in quick.
Thursday, 10 a.m.
All right, and then do we wanna send
The
anything?
16th, correct?
16th
Yeah.
is what I have.
So do we wanna set something for the following week, just so we have it? So that
I'm
we
here
can
for
keep.
meetings on the 23rd and 24th
Let me just see here, 23rd and 24th.
already, so I don't know, I don't have those hard in my calendar, like in terms of written in my calendar, but I know I'm up here for some budget stuff
Okay.
anyway. So, I mean, if that doesn't work, I'm just saying, I could be in person,
Either day works for me.
in
Yeah.
theory, 23, 24.
Either of those work for me.
23rd, I'm here, 24th, I'm in Colorado.
Okay.
Okay.
Far from a cruise ship.
Yes.
Yeah, really. You're going
My
the
daughter
opposite
could
direction.
pick a warmer place to move.
Oh,
The
you're moving.
23rd then?
The People's Republic of Colorado, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If we did it in the
Do
morning, would
golf?
that work out for you on the
Yeah.
23rd?
Yep. Yeah, we leave stupid early Friday morning, so my children will be fine.
And we
in the
can
morning.
always be a little flexible on the time, because you know your meetings, but why don't we say for now,
Yeah, I'll pin mine down this week. Like, we have, everybody's basically on vacation this week until Monday, and then Monday really kicks off the new year for us.
Alright.
Cause this is like a weird week between New Year's and kids not being in school.
no problem. If
So
we say,
I'll be able to pin, I have all my Monday meeting calls this Monday, and that's when we will pin down the month. So
Alright.
I'll know my exact timing on those probably by Monday
So
afternoon.
we can do like a 10 o'clock on the 23rd,
Yeah.
and that can just be,
Yeah, I would put that in, and then
TBD.
if, I'll.
to be
either-
determined
I
or
can- I
to
can
be
also
firmed
move
up.
my
Okay,
stuff around too, so.
all right, so let's say 10 AM on the 23rd,
Yep.
and that'll give us a chance to.
I mean, that
just-
could be that could be a place where we even are talking master planner too.
Nice.
So, I'm just thinking, I wanna be, with a master planner, if they come, I wanna make sure I'm here, so I can also make a trip up, it's no big deal, but.
Well, since you're here though, and since,
Yeah, I think
and
let's
since you'll be
pin in
here, we don't have to
23.
worry about virtual and setup, I can help you set up and print and things in that, we'll be ahead of schedule, whatever we might need. Can we set that one for 9 AM, just in case it goes a little longer, and consider it a work group type meeting?
On
I'm
the
driving in from
23rd?
Green
Yeah.
Bay on the 23rd.
You what?
I'm not working the 22nd, so the 23rd in the morning I'm driving in from Green Bay.
So
Okay.
do it mid-morning.
I can do a 9. I'm
I
just
may-
saying
I
I'm
may
gonna
I may be driving in that morning too from Chicago.
I'm waking up at 4 in the
All right,
morning
so
and getting
10
here.
a.m.
do you want to do?
I will
Yeah,
be
let's do
here.
10 or 11, whatever, that works.
Let's do 11.
Maybe
That's
we need to bring a charcuterie board then.
Yeah,
No,
I like it.
I'll be here. I'm just saying. I am just gonna be a little bit like.
Gotta get up early that day, I get it.
All right, so we'll make it, well, if you're in Titletown, we don't know how you'll be when
Titletown.
you're coming back.
No, I'm just
so
saying. I'll just
11
be
a.m.
coming in from a 2-hour drive.
Oh, okay.
So are we saying 11?
11.
Okay,
Does that work for you? Oh, Thursday's a
yeah,
work.
but that's early enough.
Okay, all right. Owner's Day.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
And
Any other final questions or any other?
I'm looking so forward to that.
Yeah, that'll
I
be
am
fun.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a meeting at 11:30, so
Mhm.
maybe we can catch up this afternoon or something,
Yeah.
or just 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
All right,
that's
so
All
then
right.
I'll adjourn the meeting at 11:12 a.m.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Heather, you guys open right now?
Wildfire Community Preparedness Day, or